Did we pick a bad park up last night or what? Today we are going to the British Motor Museum.
The original Robin Reliant from Only Fools and Horses, Bourton, on the water. The Motor Museum is amazing. As you know, I'm into old cars, I've got an old Stag myself. There is indeed in there the last ever production Stag. So that's in there, it's got, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles on it. But if you like cars from sort of pre-war, post-war, up until modern times, there's racing cars, Jaguars. It's kind of course, it's British themed, but really worth it. I got in. It cost me £16. It was £16 if you book online, or £19 if you walk into reception. At the moment they've got 2 halls open, and the second hall has got about 200 plus vehicles in, and they call it the Jaguar collection. There's racing Jags, XJS's, Princess Diana's old XJS in there, old vehicles, Montegos, the last ever Montego produced, signed by all the workers. First ever Maestro produced, which, you know, some may say the last Montego being produced was a blessing. There's a Maestro in there with delivery miles on. There's some really interesting vehicles in there. There's a Mini Clubman that they found in the tunnels under Canley, and that is a bit bashed and worn, but that's got 3 miles on the clock. So, you know, there's millions of pounds worth of vehicles in there, and it's taken me best part of 6, maybe 7 hours to have a good look around, and it really is worth it, you know. And there's places where you can have a cup of coffee, a bite to eat, a sit down, but you know, I came back to the van. But as it stands in there, they've got the racing cars, rally cars, and they've got some god-awful production cars that they never even put into production. I'll put some pictures up and you'll see why they didn't really deserve to go into production, because they were horrendous. So I think I can see why there was a decline, dare I say it, in the British motoring industry. I've seen the original Robin Reliant from Only Fools and Horses. It is the one that's been used in that particular series. It's got a little bit of blue paint on it. Their explanation is, once Only Fools and Horses stopped, it was given to Mr. Bean and he painted it blue. But now it's back and it's been repainted. The other thing from that particular show, Only Fools and Horses, is Del Boy's green Ford Capri, with its tiger skin, leopard skin inside and furry dice in all its markings on the outside. So that's 2 vehicles from Only Fools and Horses that are here for you to look at. You're not allowed to touch them, but you can, of course, you know, shield the glass, have a little look in there. There are people walking around. They're volunteers, and they're very knowledgeable and helpful. There's also quite a few of the royal family vehicles here too, from the Queen Mother, the Queen. There's also an electric vehicle that Prince Philip had, an old green electric Bedford made by Lucas, with, I think they had about 5,500 miles on the clock. So a lot of them are actually just delivery miles, what they've rolled around the floor with. Yeah, they've got some prototypes, and they were called SRVs, so not Stevie Ray Vaughan, the blues guitarist, but SRV, which was the safety research vehicle. And it was at the time when they were looking at pedestrian safety, so they were looking at a design where they had a scoopy front end, so if it hit a pedestrian it wouldn't hurt them, it would just flip them up in the air. But they never came into production because, you know, look at it, it's not the best. There's the Land Rover from the film Skyfall, all battered and bullets and dents, and you can see where it was used and it featured in the film. There's also a Jaguar, which it's made of all aluminium, so it's pretty swift. And because it's made of aluminium, what they've done, they've polished it, so it's like a mirror finish all round. Again, it's another Jag, 3 miles on the clock. It never went into full production, but they make them, test them, and either the company goes out of business, or alternatively, the boss says, "Nah, that ain't going to work." They've also got a couple of E-Type Jags. They were absolutely stunning. The green one, registration 77RW, is the first Jag ever produced, the first ever E-Type ever produced. And then there's one next to it, which is the last E-Type Jaguar ever produced. That's, you know, something you don't see very often, and it's a multi-million-pound display in there. There's also the last ever Mini Metro made, and in addition to that, there's a Mini Metro prototype where they wanted to put a little bit of a boot on one. You know, you had the 4-door one, you know, we had one years ago, the Vanlife, that was a 3-door lovely little green thing. But they introduced one and it had a boot on it like the Nova. That didn't go into production. That was pretty ropey. The Montego, that's been signed by all of the workers at the end of the production line.
So it actually sounds like it was a really interesting museum. I mean, I was busy today, but when he came back and was telling me all about it, I was thinking, oh, actually, that would have been quite a good place to visit for me as well. Anyway, got me thinking about first cars. What was your first car?
My first car was an orange Fiat Strada from 1977.
Do you remember its number plate?
FNE 432V.
Oh, blimey.
1977. That got bashed in. Not my fault.
My first was a Mini Metro. What was your first cars? Let us know in the comments if you had any of the cars that might be in this museum. It'd be quite interesting to see, wouldn't it? So let us know.
Recommend this visit fully. It's got free parking on site, and Corrin has made use of the free Wi-Fi. Sorted a vlog and uploaded it whilst we've been here.
Ah, thank you, museum.
Yeah, really good. And they do have particular events on set days. But as it stands, yeah, do come. Really recommend it.
So I guess all we've got to do now is fire up Park for nights and find somewhere to stay tonight. Which I don't know where that would be, but it could be free, can't it?
Yeah, I seem very far away. Yes.
You are a little bit far away.
Free.
But...
I did ask if we could park on site, but it was a very friendly no, which is, you know, understandable. That's fine because it's a different site company that owns the site compared to the Motor Museum. I would have happily slept in there with a few of the rollers and Lamborghinis, but that's fine. So yeah, we just need to find somewhere to stop, don't we?
We do, yeah. They did suggest somewhere too, but I looked it up on Park for Nights, and it said that it's in between some roads and it's got some quite bright lighting, and I think you sort of stick out like a sore thumb, so perhaps that's not ideal. But I have found a couple of others on Park for Nights within about 10-15 miles, so
That's right.
I think that's what we'll do. We'll get the app out. Well, welcome to the next episode of Lay-By Living with the Reds. Yep, so we've come to another lay-by tonight. I'll just nip outside and show you quickly what it's like. It's actually in the middle of nowhere. So it's getting dark. The moon is out behind me. And we found our lay-by for the night. Basically country lane, nothing around us really. There is a road off way in the distance over there, but other than that it's countryside. There's no houses, nothing visible, so fingers crossed this will be a good one for tonight. Park for Night seemed to think it was a good one. There's been a couple of cars going up and down this stretch, but not too many. Hopefully it should be a nice quiet night. So with that in mind, I have fired up the air fryer and I'm making tonight's tea, which is a fry-up, an air fryer fry-up. So again, as we were doing earlier, using our battery bank and our trusty new air fryer, I've got the black pudding in there, the gigantic sausages. I'm going to fry some eggs in there afterwards. And we got baked beans. I haven't got tomatoes or anything like that. Oh, Redders is making a face. Fry up in the air fryer. Oh, 2 cars just gone by. There we go. It'll be all right. It's not the first time we've parked in lay-bys. I mean, we were in a lay-by the other night by the canal. We've parked in laybys in Scotland. It's a free night, and we got all charged up last night at the campsite, so works fine for us really. We've got everything we need. It'll be getting dark soon anyway. Time for tea. I'm hungry. Are you hungry?
I'm hungry after all that walking.
Yeah, I bet you are. How much did you do today? How many steps? No. Yeah, great night's sleep here. Very, very peaceful. I think maybe one car went past all evening. Today there's been dog walkers and various people turning up, but it is a beautiful spot and it is so, so quiet. So, highly recommend.
Good afternoon. We are in the Cotswolds. We're in a lovely little town called Bourton on the water. We've had a wander around. We've just had a good look in the Victorian Christmas shop. Now we're looking at all the food shops. There's ice creams, candies and all sorts of different sweetie shops. And it's a real pretty town. So we're just we've parked up in a Ringo car park. What have we got, 2 hours?
2 hours for £5.
2 hours for £5, and that is in dedicated motorhome bays.
It's called the Venice of England, and actually I can see why. Going all the way through the centre with tiny little bridges over that look very much like Venetian bridges. So it's extremely pretty with the classic Cotswolds yellow stone. It is expensive. If you look in the shops, there is a price tag because obviously this is a very touristy place. There's a lot of international tourists here today, and I imagine there is probably most days, because this is probably what you think of as an English village when you aren't from the UK.
Yeah, and there is a big, what's it called? The big candy shop over there.
Yeah, there's candy shops.
There's
and
candy
all sorts
shops,
of
ice
things.
cream, sandwiches and so on. So, you know, it's traditional, beautiful town.
Oh, it's lovely. The birds are singing, the water. It's so, so pretty. It's definitely worth a visit. I'm not sure we're going to be having lunch here, though. I think we might
No, we're going to carry on.
have a cheaper lunch somewhere else, because Red has just costed up 2 cups of coffee and, what was it, 2 bits of cake or
Well,
2 paninis?
Yeah, well, it was 2 coffees, 2 little slivers of cake, and it was £17. So, you know, I mean, it's tourism prices, that's fine, but, you know, we like to do things on a budget. But we haven't finished walking yet. We might find it. All right.
Sorry, I was waving at the dog over there.
Oh, there's a dog over there. So, yeah, we're going to carry on walking, and if all else fails, there is a co-op just around the corner.
Anyway, let's get some more of this pretty little village scene.
You can see where we are today, and behind me is the Motoring Museum. So I did a good visit around one yesterday, but again, if it's something that you're interested in, this is quite a nice place to come. I've just looked at the prices, and it's £8.50 per adult, and it's also the home of Brum. Isn't that interesting? And as we continue on our walk around, you can see that where it gets its name from, Venice, Little Venice. The water is flowing quite well at the moment, so I would imagine it probably comes over the stone walls, but yeah, there's quite a bit of flow today. Isn't there,
It's
buddy?
beautifully clean. I mean, you can see to the bottom of all these little rivers. It's really lovely.
Yeah, and you can see where, I mean, the watermark, there it is there on the house to the side of me. Yeah, what an amazing little place this is. And there you can see a mini that's probably been there a little bit too long.
I've just been reading and I've realised that I actually got it a bit wrong. It's the Venice of the Cotswolds, not the Venice of England. So obviously there's other Venices in the UK. But this beautiful little river is the River Windrush. It's lovely. I love finding these little crochet things that people make and they put on top of the post boxes. This is a lovely one. It's an Easter one with gnomes and bunny rabbits, but it's really cute. I found that it's actually a really good place to come for walkers, because there's plenty of walking trails around here. Cyclists, lots of cycle trails too, and you can hire bikes if you haven't brought yours with you. And dog owners, because virtually every place we've gone past has a sign outside saying dog friendly, and there is dogs everywhere. So it's a perfect spot for
really
everybody.
Nice. Yeah, it's a busy day today, but it's not in season, so I would imagine in season it does get quite busy here.
In the summer, I should imagine this is absolutely packed. I mean, this is a Wednesday in March, and it's very, very busy. Every bench is taken, but the weather is nice and it's not raining. It's very pleasant today, isn't it?
It's nice. It's slightly humid, which is, again, like we say, pleasant. And the town itself, very pretty and very clean.
Yeah.
It's very well looked after, isn't it?
It is. They obviously care for it, and the buildings are just absolutely beautiful.
They are, and there is plenty of parking here, but it's all timed. You can park up the road for 90 minutes in a car, or you can go in the car park where we are. But I think if you wanted to stop all day, it was how much?
I'm not sure, but I know you can stay overnight in your motorhome.
Yeah,
I think it was about £25. Am I right?
£25, which for a place like this, it's lovely, but then you're kind of into campsite fees there, aren't you?
Yeah, you are really. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say well worth a visit. There's a lot of similar shops selling similar things, but it's a very picturesque village with maybe just sit and relax and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
It's lovely here.
And feel like England, as you would see it in old photographs, and how you imagine England might look. So yeah, this is very beautiful. We're very glad we came.
We are. And now you've got your breath back after hunting down an old lady with a walking stick.
In the Edinburgh Woolen Mill. There were a lot of them.
Yeah, we had a bit of not us, we've seen a guy in distress in the car, the alarm was going, and he was waving his arms, but most people were just walking by thinking...
He was waving at them.
He was waving at them or trying to silence the alarm, so...
We went over.
And the poor fella was in distress. He'd been locked in the car.
Yeah.
He was getting hot because it is quite humid today. I think he'd been in there quite a while. So we tried the doors, didn't open. It was a BMW, so they've got deadlocks on there. Poor chap couldn't get out, but the advice was, my daughter's in the woolen mill and she's the one with a walking stick.
So I ran off to just, about 5 doors down to the woolen mill, and everybody had a walking stick.
Yes.
So I must have asked about 5 people, do you have a BMW?
Yeah.
Anyway, all's well that ends well. Found the daughter and he was released from the car.
Struck lucky he was released. It was a BMW. The poor fella asked, why did you lock me in? And the guy replied, well, why didn't you open a window? Electric windows don't work unless you're plugged in with a key. Bless him. But he's safe, he's out, he's fine.
Yeah.
And I think the son-in-law probably had a kick up the backside.
Oh well, all well that ends well.
Indeed.
Good morning! So, did we pick a bad park up last night or what? Now, before I go anywhere, I just want to make it clear, we picked it, and we know that you can expect traffic if you park in a lay-by. But we had a lovely day in Bourton on the water yesterday, wandered around and then started to look on Park for Night. Found a lay-by that said it was quiet at night. We got here, it wasn't particularly noisy at all. And then it got noisy. And by then it was just like, oh, do we just see if it goes quiet like it said? It didn't.
Yeah, it didn't go quite quiet at all, did it?
No.
What I will say though is I've never seen the shower drain so fast. We're on a little bit of a slope. I'm actually stood uphill at the moment.
Yeah, he's holding on so he doesn't slide downhill.
Yeah, gravity's taking its toll. So yeah, you can hear the traffic going by. you know, it's a freebie, so you can't knock it, but
No.
you are on a bend. Yes, it's noisy, it's on a slope, but we fully expected something. So it's not a gripe, it's just us sharing to say that if you do decide to park here, this is what you'll experience.
Yeah.
Would we park here again? No. I'd probably go down somewhere else, somewhere a little bit flatter, or, you know, we'd have to pay for it. If we want the perfect pitch, of course we'll pay for it. But it's all about being freebies and cheapskating and travelling around with the money that we got so we can make it last and do it a lot longer.
As Redders points out there quite clearly, we know we chose this spot, and we've chosen this spot so you don't have to. So what I've done is I've gone on Park for Nights and I've left a review, because sometimes in the past we've used Park for Nights and we've gone, oh yeah, that was good, and we never leave a review. So I think it's always a good idea. So I've gone on and said, didn't sleep. What was nice though, just to the side of us, there was pheasants calling to each other all night. So although it was noisy, it was a nice sound. But when, you know, the noise of the traffic roaring past, because I think this is like a rat run between Cheltenham and where? Warwick perhaps?
Yeah, it's a bit of a link road between
the
motorways, isn't it?
Because it's lots and lots of heavy plant, lorries, that kind of thing. So it's very noisy stuff, but they don't have pick up some speed. I'll show you outside now. When it's quiet, it's lovely because it's beautiful views, as Park for Night said. But here we are. So, yeah, see, it's nice. Absolutely lovely. And then I'll turn it around near the pheasants again, look. So you see, that's quiet. But, give it a minute. As you can see, lovely day as well. There goes the cars. Probably wondering what I am doing. So there we go, there's the van last night. What we did notice was that when the really big heavy things go past, the van was shaking, and look how far away we are from the road. We are quite a good distance away from the road, but on the plus side, yep, nice view. Yeah, we've put a do not recommend down on this particular one, as I'm sure someone will appreciate it, but I'm not sure if you can tell the slope of the road here, but it's quite slopey. It's quite slopey. Yeah, but you know, it's all part of the fun of doing it for free and finding park ups. So, you know, we're not complaining. What we are doing is just letting you know that although the night before we had a lovely lay-by park up, this one was a bit of a miss for us. But,
yeah.
You know, it was our choice. We chose to stay here, so
yeah,
we'll deal with the knackeredness today.
Yep, just thought we'd share it. And, you know, there were a couple of cars that kind of stopped outside and drove by slowly. I'm not sure if this lay-by has got any other use to the locals, but we are definitely moving on. Woof woofing all that.
Less said about that, the better.
And that brings us on to our sponsor today, Love Honey.
So that concludes our lay-by trip of the UK. Actually, it's been very, very cheap, because what we've done is we paid for the one campsite in the middle of the trip, which was £28 and had unlimited electricity and all the services. So we just did car parks for the first 2 nights, then we did a lay-by, then we did the campsites, and then we did 2 more lay-bys. So we've kept it very, very cheap, and the entire costs of staying have been £32.50. So it's worked out quite a cheap trip. We did the same thing as we did when we were in Spain. We went to an area and we slowly moved around it. So we've missed an awful lot. We have to go back. There's places that we went to that we passed through and thought, well, we need to come back here and see this. Kenilworth, Rugby, Banbury, there's all sorts of places up there. So highly recommend it. If you're going to have a short trip, it's possible to do it on the cheap. and there is an awful lot of stuff to see, and it's great stuff as well. Really, really interesting. We've thoroughly enjoyed this trip, haven't we, Redders?
We have, and I think for me, seeing the amount of history that lives within Coventry and Warwick was amazing.
Yeah.
The cathedral, I think, was the highlight for me.
Yes, me too.
The new one was amazing, but the old one, wow, stunning.
Oh, see, the old one for me, I liked it. I really, really loved it. I loved the history and everything. But it was the new one. Oh my goodness, it was. I don't know, it felt so hopeful inside. It was lovely, it was beautiful. So it's interesting that we both took something very different from that. You know, we've worked out that in England it is possible to park up in lay-bys and have a good evening and a good sleep. It's also, if you're not careful, like we weren't, you can have a pretty bad night. But it was somewhere to park, and...
Well, it did work really well. And what I would say is we didn't experience one single bit of trouble or felt unsafe at any point.
Nope, nothing. No, just traffic noise. No, well, we haven't seen anything on this trip that has made us uncomfortable, or it's been a great trip. It really has been a great trip, and we've really enjoyed it. We know a lot of you are from that area, which was a bit of a surprise, because a few of you said, oh, that's where I am. You're very lucky. It's a beautiful area to live.
So there we go, that's that little trip over. Hope you enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
We really enjoyed taking you along with us. It wasn't as exciting as other places we've been to, but Coventry, wow, the history there, the Motor Museum. I mean, what was your highlight?
I liked the Hatton Locks and Coventry, I think, were my two favourite things on that trip. Of course, Bourton on the water, but I think it's a great little area to explore, and we're going to go back, aren't we?
It does, it offers so much, and you know, like I've said in messages to quite a few of you, we've kept on researching Coventry, and the history and the Blitz in the war there was just fantastic, and the Coventry spirit after, wow, really worth a look up if you haven't seen it. Anyway, I better stop rambling. We've got a couple of things to say, haven't we?
We have, yeah. First of all, we've got some coffees to say thank you for. Want to say thank you to Carice again for the coffees. We really, really appreciate it. And we've also got a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a slightly late happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Hopefully Freddie, the Cavalier King Charles, doesn't mind, but happy third birthday to Freddie.
I know. Hugs. Yeah, here he is. Here's Freddie. Sorry we're late, Freddie, but obviously you saw we juggled around our when we were going to start releasing videos and how we're going to change things. On that note, on Facebook you would have seen that we are changing things around slightly. The content will still be the same, but we're just going a little bit more back to basics. So we hope you appreciate that anyway.
Yes. And coming next...
Very excited for this.
We are travelling to Scotland.
Yep.
We're off to Scotland to see the sights.
We're going for 6 weeks to Scotland, and we are going to take a lot of it in, but we're doing it on a budget.
Yep, we are. So it's on a budget, park where we can, but we are also going to enjoy ourselves. So we're not going to scrimp and scrape, but enjoy ourselves being frugal.
Exactly. We're going to make savings where we can make savings so that you can perhaps pick up some tips, and if you want to go up to Scotland, you can make savings too. Anyway, I think that's it.
That's us.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you next time.
Thanks. Bye for now.
Bye.